Hey everybody, Zealous Talon with the probably the only non-robot toy review you'll ever see me do, because these are pretty much the only non-robot toys I have left. These are the Lost World Jurassic Park Allosaurus and Stegosaurus. These are the only Jurassic Park toys I have left, actually. I actually didn't have that many to begin with, but somehow I managed to hang on to these throughout the years. Well, actually I just got this one. The Allosaurus is the only one I've hung on to since I was a kid. I got this guy just recently to go with him. I wanted him back in the day but couldn't get him. So they weren't sold together, obviously, otherwise I'd have had both this whole time, but the Stego was sold on his own with some capture gear, which mine didn't have, but I don't really care. I just wanted the dino. And the Allosaurus came with a sort of medical center play set, and we'll get into the details of that later. I do want to go over the Stego first, though, actually, because he's a bit simpler. So the Stegosaurus did obviously appear in the second movie, so the figure is very, very accurate to how it looked in the movie. It's got this very nice airbrushed green look where it starts very dark at the top on the plates, and then it kind of becomes this more medium green on the flanks and the limbs, and then he's got a cream colored underbelly, and his spikes are sort of brown at the base and kind of become this bone off-white colored towards the end. You can see on his leg he has the JP insignia for a Jurassic Park toy, and then the little Site B next to it, which indicates it's a Lost World figure, and then he is number 24 of the series. So the figure's kind of a brick, but he looks so nice, and he's so much bigger than any of those like Carnegie line ones that are basically just like one solid hunk of plastic. I mean, those ones look beautiful, but they're kind of smallish, and this guy's just not hard to get, and he's a fair size, and he's pretty cool because he at least has a couple of action features. For one, if you squeeze this plate in particular, you kind of squeeze it against this plate, you get a tail swinging action, which you kind of got to start whipping it fast to get going. And it really only moves it in one direction, and then when you release it kind of whips back, and because the tail is soft rubber, it'll keep kind of swinging a little bit. And I do really like the tail because the spikes kind of come out more horizontally, which is more anatomically accurate. I just love this Stego figure because it's so accurate to the most recent interpretation of how a Stegosaurus would have looked. I mean, aside from coloring, which is, still up in the air. But I mean, even on the plates you have these indentations, all these ridges kind of detailed into them like the bone plates had, where the blood vessels would have been. And then he also comes with a dino damage piece, so you take this little piece off and you see some ribs and the shoulder blade in there. Very nice. The only problem I have with it is, and actually my biggest problem with the figure as a whole, is that this piece does not stay on well at all. And I know it's not just mine. I've seen a couple other videos and they just fall off so easily. But enough of him. The Allosaurus. This is my favorite dinosaur, which is why I had to have it when I was a kid. And I actually remember how much it cost me because I saved up the money. I believe it was like, well, I closely remember it was like 2801 or 2802 after the tax, something like that. But very nice. He has this nice sort of light brown color with some dark brown stripes. Again, that sort of cream coated underbelly, and it fades in very nicely, airbrushed. Again, Lost World. He's number 47 in the series. He's got a bit more posability. All of the limbs are PVC, as is the jaw, and his tail is solid PVC, but the body is hollow. I don't know if it's ABS, but it's just a hollow hard plastic. The problem with that is that you can't stand him horizontal because the tail is heavier than the rest of his body. So you kind of have to stand him up and use the tail tip as a tripod. Bit annoying, but I can live with it. I really like the sculpt on this one a lot. He's just very fun looking. He's got some great detail in the skin pattern. I like the toes. They have those sort of scoots. They have the scaled look like a bird foot, which is very nice. I think the horns are a little overstated on the head. I think they're a bit big and a bit sharp. I mean, Allosaurus did have some crests over its eyes, but these are just a little much, but they look really good still. It's I mean, I'm just nitpicking because I'm a dino nerd, but it's a very, very nice figure. I wish the teeth were a bit bigger and the mouth could open more, actually. That's probably... I only have 3 gripes with this figure, and really the only big one is that the tail is so heavy. But he also he came with a medical station playset, and that was basically a table you could lay him down on, or any dinosaur smaller than him, and it had like a restraint belt and a neck rest, and you had these X-ray display things and like little surgical tools that the human figures could hold. And there was like a big like drum full of red corn syrup that was supposed to be blood, sort of like an IV, because just those little bags that we use, that's just not going to cut it for this guy. But his other main feature, aside from being with that playset, which I don't have any of those pieces anymore, unfortunately, but he has the most dino damage features of any toy in the line, and I think he has the most of any Jurassic Park toy ever, if I'm not mistaken, but I kind of stopped paying attention after Chaos Effect. But you can take his flank off, and you can take off part of the thigh. You can take part of his tail off, and we'll just see some detail. You've got the femur all in there and some muscle. Got the vertebrae. You can see his ribs, which also come out, so you can get a better look at his guts. Got like intestines, and I'm guessing a liver. I don't know, just fun bits, fun little innards. And then the last bit, which leads to my third gripe, is you can take the left leg off entirely, but they didn't bother to paint any of the detail in there. I mean, you can see like the pelvis, and you can see guts and muscles in there, and the same thing on the inner thigh. You can well, you can't really see it, but there you go. Like, you can see the inside of the femur and the muscles, and they didn't paint any of it, and it could have just looked really cool and gruesome. But it's whatever. I mean, I'm really glad that I still have the Allosaurus. It is my favorite dinosaur, and I'm glad that I finally picked up a Stegosaurus to go with it, which incidentally is my dad's favorite dinosaur as well. So that's just kind of funny how that one worked out. They go well together. Big herbivore, big carnivore lived at the same time. Just really fun stuff. Brings back memories. So have a good one.